you go to multiple events throughout the year as the director of Automechanika Frankfurt. So what sort of is the reason behind that? Are you sort of an ambassador for the show?
Well, yes, I sometimes feel like a diplomat. I agree. Yeah, I'm kind of ambassador for my own show, in order to explain to companies, to the market, what Automechanika Frankfurt is, what's the reason for it, why everybody needs to be here, and why everybody comes to be here. But of course, it's also to see my customers, to find new customers, and to learn about what is going on in the markets, because this is equal for all shows. When you go there, you get an impression of what is going on in the market. Be it a small show, be it a large one, you always get some new ideas and get an idea of what is going on. So this is another reason. So being ambassador, as you called me, for Automechanika Frankfurt, definitely yes, but also to go and to learn in order to be able to improve my own show and to adopt it to the needs of the market.
You know, when I interviewed you, I think it was at the 2021 edition of Automechanika Frankfurt, and that was sort of a rebuilding year, and it was sort of during the pandemic, it was a rebuilding year because it was getting people together. The show wasn't as big, but you knew that, and you mentioned to me at the time of something about spontaneous conversations, and they really do. There is something very special about a spontaneous conversation because people think of things in the moment that they wouldn't think about if they had to make a presentation or get up or have a scheduled meeting. Those things, I don't know what it is about the human mind, but those really are very special things. So can you talk a little bit about the spontaneity of the show and just getting people together that makes a show like this special?
Yeah. I'm gladly I do so, because this is something I really think that everybody learned, maybe not during, but definitely after the pandemic, how important it is to meet in person and not to do only digital meetings. I mean, we are doing digital meeting now,
right?
So this works perfectly for some issues, and there are other occasions in which it is much more important to meet in person, because as we said, it is then spontaneous occasions. You are going to a show, you are walking through the aisle, you are meeting somebody who you never thought of the last 12 months, but you know the person, and you're okay, I need to talk to this guy or to this lady. And just because you're meeting somebody in the aisle and have an personal encounter, you can fix something. Or you do a shortcut on your way to another meeting. Do a shortcut through the hall and see an object or a project you never heard of and think, okay, this is really interesting. You need to come back after my meeting and see what these guys are providing and what is their idea behind the product. And I'm really very much convinced that these things and these occasions only happen when you go to see a B2B show where you have highly educated people, where you have people who are really there for doing business, for setting up networks, to exchange ideas and opinions. And this is what makes every show, but of course, especially Automechanika, because it is so international and so large, so very special. And after the pandemic, I think everybody is choosing much more carefully than in the past where to go in person and what to do digitally. And I'm very convinced that attending Automechanika, everybody will choose to come here in person, because this is the place where everybody from the industry is meeting.
Absolutely. And it's such a huge show, and it would be hard to imagine that you're able to pack in more for the next show, but why don't you give us a flavor of what is to come, what's new on the agenda for the next edition?
Yeah, well, we, as I said before, we try to adopt the show, each edition, according to the needs of the market, or maybe better say of the markets, because there are so many industries represented in Automechanika. So we always try to adopt a little and to see what is important. Regarding figures, I'm very, very, very positive, because we opened the possibility to register mid-March, and we are even better off now than we have been in 2017. For the 2018 show, so the last pre-pandemic huge Automechanika. This is no final figure, of course. This is just an impression that the industry wants to be back here in Frankfurt and to meet. So this is very, very positive, just from the figure side. Content-wise, we have developed our product groups a little bit ahead. So we decided, for example, to introduce a new product group, oil, lubricants, and fuels, because this has always been part of our repair and diagnostics. But it is such an important product group that we decided to give them their own branding to make these companies more visible. So this is one. And I think also very important, the new product group, digital services and solutions. Because digitalization is growing, it's going on everywhere, especially, of course, also in the automotive aftermarket. And we would like to point out that there are many companies which deal with data generating, with data analysis, and also afterwards with the usage and setting up business cases with the data. And we're having already many of these companies spread all over the venue, starting with Tech Alliance and going to Autotex, and everybody in this field is here. And we would just like to give them also more visibility and to make clear that digital solutions are key for the future of the industry. So that's why we point this out. And as you know, Automechanika, we are arranging our show according to these product groups to make it maybe not easy, but easier to find your way and to find the companies you would like to see. But we also need to have content, and we will provide content for our academy stages with 5 new topics. So 5 major pillar topics for Automechanika, which are innovations, sustainability, transformation, which includes digitalization and new drives and alternative drives, e-mobility. The 4th is training and education. And 5th, not last, is recruiting. And with around these 5 key pillars, we will organize and arrange our fringe program, and we will also be attracting our exhibitors to kind of donate or bring content from their side to these topics, because this has been reflected also in our conversations with the industry, with associations, that these topics are so important for all the industries in the aftermarket that we will easily have hours and hours to discuss about single points of it.
Since the last Automechanika Frankfurt, artificial intelligence has really taken center stage. And I just saw a report this morning that an energy company in Great Britain is fielding 44% of its customer service inquiries via artificial intelligence, and it's only been in place for 7 weeks. So I would ask, obviously, artificial intelligence and machine learning with respect to autonomous vehicles is in use regarding that. What could visitors to Automechanika Frankfurt next year expect to see? What's the flavor for artificial intelligence at the show?
It's really interesting that you're asking me this question, because we have not talked about it before. And artificial intelligence is one of the key content factors which we plan to have for a one-day conference, which is called the Supply Chain Management Day. Artificial intelligence and supply chain, how do they work together? So this will be one of our major focuses in this field for the industry, with a focus on supply chain management. So this is quite interesting, and I'm really curious to see what is behind it, because I'm not so deep in the topic, but I'm really curious to see how artificial intelligence will develop within the next 12 months, and what will be the consequences for the supply chain, and also for the industry. Because I talked with some of the CEOs of Schaeffler and of Continental and of ZF, and all of them are, of course, dealing with AI regarding customer relations, regarding warehouse logistics, but also discussing about how to promote the production, and as I said before, how to support their own supply chains by AI. So this is going to be, I think, under the headline of digitalization, this will be one of the key topics. And from our side, it will be on our supply chain management day. And I think from exhibitor side, at least from the big players, the visitors will be able to get information on the relevant booths and when you talk to the exhibitors, they can learn a lot about the ideas, how AI is supporting the industry, and probably also how AI will be part of autonomous driving, or on the way to autonomous driving.
Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing is we're recording this in late May of 2023. By the time the show rolls around in 2024, it could be, artificial intelligence could be in a completely different place than it is now. So we almost have to keep it open-ended and watch it evolve.
I agree. For me, at least, the development which I perceive is so incredibly fast. Mm-hmm. Half a year ago, I never heard of ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to make Automechanika Frankfurt better and better each edition, and we see that there is also need to not to make it only better, but also to make it more attractive to participate and to join, and even in some respects to make it more fun. So we decided that we would kind of implement also a connection between the automotive aftermarket industry and the so-called gaming industry. Be it simulator racing or something else. I know there are also games in which you can run your own workshop, something like this. So we will try to integrate gaming into Automechanika to make visible on the one hand, there is a connection between two industries which seem to be totally apart, but there are links between these industries. And we can see that bringing gaming, which is always digital in this respect, bringing younger people closer to the automotive aftermarket industry, so to make automotive aftermarket industry visible again to young people. And this should be like a double supportive match, I hope, and also to make it more fun. I mean, we've seen in the past, if there is like a simulator on a stand of company, you always have a line of people who just want to do racing.
Right.
And it is fun. I totally agree. I would also be, maybe not for 10 minutes in the line, but I would be for 5 minutes in the line. I'm not so patient. But this is something we would like to put also one focus on. We are cooperating, or try to cooperate with FIA, with the association, in order also to integrate motorsports into Automechanika, because also here we see good connection to have more event inside the show and to make it more fun to join, but also to have serious content, because there is, of course, connection between motorsports and what companies learn from the motorsport and which they then implement into the regular car and in the aftermarket. So this is another connection. And apart from that, we will continue with the new formats we established last year. And I hope you will be part of our CEO breakfast on the first morning. So you need to be an early bird that day. So Tuesday morning, 7:00.
I'll be there.
That's great. We do not know yet who the speaker will be, but the idea is the same. We want to bring together top managers from the industry, from all the industries, to meet. Before the show opens, we will have a keynote speaker, which will be interesting, which will be a person who you would really like to meet in your life, and to make like a more leisure time wise possibility to start Automechanika on the morning of the first day. Then we will have our networking areas, which prove to be very, very well received from visitors and exhibitors. So having certain areas in the halls in which you can inform and discuss about one certain topic. And this will be e-commerce one more time for sure. There will be something about the workshop of the future. We will have one networking area which is focusing on sustainability. So there will be many of these topics. And last but not least, at least for those exhibitors who will come, we will have our exhibitor party back, our Oktoberfest. And for our visitors, there will be on Friday evening, there's already planned in Hall 11, a very nice party with live music. And we will most probably also provide music and drinks and food during the evenings, during the show in the outside areas. So many reasons to join, and especially international people will be here. I'm so convinced that for Automechanika Frankfurt, the entire world will travel again to Frankfurt, will come here. Last year, we had again 175 nations visitor-wise, which is as good as in the past. And I'm really very positive that it will be the same next year.
I'm glad you said that, because I had that on one of my questions. And one of the questions is, how do you manage all of that in a sentence? I mean, how, for people who have not been to this show, they shouldn't feel guilty about not seeing everything, because I think it's impossible. It's literally impossible to see everything. So I think people should actually give up the notion that they can experience every single aspect. You really kind of have to plan. But you're right. You did have participants from 175 countries. How do you manage that?
We manage that with an international team, because we have sales partners covering 180 countries. So we really have many locals who are in contact with the visitors and exhibitors. And of course, I have a great team here in Frankfurt. We have great colleagues who manage the venue, just literally manage how it works. And I think it is a lot of enthusiasm from our side,
right,
that we really want to have the international audience,
right,
and that's what we invite everybody to come, because we are open-minded. We want the world to be here, and I think that's just the beginning and just the start of it. We are open. We would like to have the world with us. We don't exclude anybody, and I think that's the start, and that's maybe even the open secret behind it.
And just to clarify, you said the word venue, but I really think we should mention what, if you've not been to the show in Frankfurt before, you're really talking about a city. The fairgrounds, if you want to call them that, they really are a small city. And I took one time a taxi from one side to the next to make it to a meeting on time. Yep. So could you just, talk about the scale of the venue? We'll use that word, but it's not really a venue. Yeah. It's more like a city.
It is a city, I agree, and with skyscraper inside even, yeah. We have 11 halls. I cannot tell you in miles. I can tell you in kilometers the distance. When you start in the eastern entrance, which is called Entrance City, and you take the shortest way through the fairground, through our internal city to the end of Hall 9, you have 1.9 kilometers to walk. Mm-hmm. So it's quite a lot. And we are covering, with Automechanika, we're covering around 340,000 square meters.
Right.
Which is a lot.
Yes. I one year when I was at the show, my Apple Watch measured 15 miles.
Yeah.
For the day, and that was all the press tours, and 50. You can stay very fit going to the show.
And I can tell you for me, because I have so many appointments during the show, and of course it's not not 5 appointments in one hall, one after the other, but it is one appointment in Hall 3, the next one in Hall 9, then in Hall 1, and
right.
then in Hall 12.
Right.
So I always have my electric car for the duration of the show, in order to be able to make my appointments.
No, you're not kidding. You really have an electric car?
Yeah. I'm not kidding. It's impossible to do without.
Can I rent it from you? No, I'm kidding.
It's just a matter of money.